Yes, good afternoon. Good morning, guys, wherever you are. Yeah, first, let me say I'm quite overwhelmed with the response that I saw from people who really wanted to get some career advice from me. I think I shared a post a couple of weeks ago saying that those who are interested in that in fact I'm going to do a Zoom call for those who are interested in getting some tips and guidance on career maneuvering, especially with interest on. I mean, for those who have got interest in working for the United Nations. I know. I mean, although I talk about the United Nations specifically, but I think some of the tips that I'm going to share with you are things that can be used by anyone. I mean, in any career. The reason why I actually thought of coming up with this pro bono service to people is because I get quite a lot of direct messages in my inbox of people who are looking for jobs. I also see quite a lot of people on my feed who are struggling to get jobs. Then sometimes I randomly go through some people's LinkedIn profiles just to look at what their profiles are, or what is it that they could be making as a mistake, which is making them fail to land those dream jobs that they feel that they deserve. I've also recruited probably hundreds of people in my career. I've been working for the United Nations for almost 20 years now. Been a manager most of this career to a number of staff, and also have kind of recruited a lot of staff during this career in a few countries. So that knowledge also is something that I really wanted to share with people. Yeah, so I thought at first to do a Zoom call, but then I realized I would need to have a license which can get more than 500 people into the Zoom call. The feasibility of which is something that I'm still interested in trying to do. But for now, I thought first let me do the frequently asked questions so that I would give you some answers. Then, I mean, as we go forward, if there's a need for a live Zoom call, then it's probably something that I can always think about. Also, to appreciate that time is not. In fact, the time differences or in time, in fact, is not something that everyone gets all the time. I'm also in a different time zone to most of the people, so that's why I thought probably a recorded session as a start is something that yeah, that I can try to do. So yeah, so guys, listen, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert, but I claim to be someone who just wants to share pro bono on my experiences, yeah, and some of the things, some of the mistakes that I've seen being made by a lot of job seekers, be it young job seekers, but also even people who are much older than me, who are looking for jobs. So let me see if I can bring a presentation. Let's see if I can bring this presentation and share my screen. Let's see if I can put this presentation out. Okay, so I've decided to entitle this "How to Get Your Dream Job," the basics. So, like I said, I've not really gone into the nitty-gritties. These are probably the basics of that I think anyone who is looking for a job. Like I said, I'm not an HR expert. I'm not a recruitment expert. So probably a lot of people will probably say, "Oh, you know, those are your own opinions," but not necessarily something that maybe these other guys have learned in school. But what I share with you is just practical things that I've seen that that kind of help you to get jobs or not to get jobs, to get hired or not to get hired. So I decided to how to get your dream job, the basics by Perseverance Fungai Ganga. This is me. Yeah, so this is the presentation that I created. I think it's about 16 slides. Yeah, about 18 slides. Yeah. So I'll go with you through this presentation. Then I'll be happy if when I share this video, if people have got any questions, maybe they can put on my post. Then I'll see if it asks for me to do a live Zoom call, which means that I'll probably have to pay for 500, suppose, or 1,000 even people for this for a session. Maybe I'll do a monthly subscription just to do this session. But try to listen also from this presentation, because I really try to cover a lot of stuff that I know people do have questions on. Some of the questions that I get. I've also even managed to do some CVs for some people. Look, it's not I cannot do CVs for everyone, yeah. But try to learn from this presentation, yeah. So the common mistakes made by job seekers, I tried to pick out some of them. This list is not exhaustive, but it tries to cover some of the mistakes that job seekers do. Yeah. So too much information in your resume is one of the mistakes that I see every time when I do recruitment. Too much information in your cover letter. Not making a match. So when I say too much information in your resume, is basically where someone who has just left university or they just have 1 year experience or 2 years experience, but they've got 16 pages of a CV. Why? Resume. Why do you have to have a 16 pages of a CV? Unless I don't think even Barack Obama does have a CV, although he has done so many things all over the world. I don't think his CV will be 16 pages. Yeah, he was the president of the United States of America. That's exactly what he needs to put on his CV. Between 2008 to 2016, president of the United States of America. You don't have to write that you did the Ebola response. You did what do you call it? You did the support of the coalition military operations in Libya and in Afghanistan. You don't have to say that, you know. So when we know that you are the president of the United States, then we know obviously that this is the biggest job. But if Barack Obama doesn't have 16 pages of a CV, why do you have 16 pages of a CV? At one point, I have a colleague of mine that I asked to send in a CV, and then I made this mistake that I asked him to send directly to my boss who was recruiting at that time. Then the person copied me the CV. I was in shock when I saw the CV, yeah? And I was not even surprised that they never got contacted, because looking at the CV itself was a pain. It was a burden. This person is really massively qualified, very good at what they do. I have worked with them. I actually know them, but unfortunately, they could not put that in a summary on a CV. So they didn't get called out. They were actually disqualified from the selection. It's the same with the cover letter. Very important. One of the tools that is used these days is the cover letter. Quite important, but also you need to be very strategic when you do your cover letter. You need to cover. We talk about a miniskirt, which is very brief, but covers the most important parts. Yeah, those are the most critical things that I need to, as a recruiter. Those are the critical things that I need to see in your cover letter. That tells me that you are someone. I mean, probably I would need even to ask more information from you. Then there's also the cardinal mistake that people make, not making a match between your qualifications and the job. So there's this thing of someone has got a template CV that they send to every job. It's just about forwarding. At times they even forget. They even forget to to change the subject of the job that they are applying for. Yeah? You cannot do that. Each and every job is unique. You also have to ensure that you send a unique application, that you have spent time as a recruiter. I need to see that you have spent time looking at this job, you have seen the needs, and you are justifying them in your application. Then the other common mistake, obviously, dressing inappropriately for a job interview, especially now with the COVID. We have seen the video calls. People tend to think that, oh, it's a video call, I can do it from my bed, I can do it from wherever, and then kids coming. Can't do that. You have to be well dressed, you have to be dressed professional, even if it is an over video interview. Then saying the wrong things at a job interview. This is quite important, and also one of the mistakes that people. I know interview is always kind of a scary or what do I call it? An environment which makes you insecure. But you really need to try to train yourself to breathe in, breathe out, and ensure that you take your time to answer questions. Don't be quick to answer questions, yeah? Because sometimes it's so frustrating when we are interviewing people and you can see that someone is quickly ready to answer, but they've not even tried to take time to grasp questions, yeah? So what you can do, the trick that I always tell people is ask the person to repeat, although even if you have understood it, yeah, try to ask them to repeat. And while they're repeating, try now to lay out your answer, yeah? But also even, I mean, you don't have to ask people to repeat it. Let's say they ask you a very direct and what can I say, direct and concise question. But sometimes you can say, you take your time, think about it, and then provide an answer, a well thought out answer. This is something that we really value as people who are interviewing, yeah? When you really actually take time to think about a question and then answer it. Then the other mistake that I also see is people not doing research on the company. They come, they apply for the job, and then they forget about it, and then they get called for the interview. They have no clue what the company does. Like I work for United Nations World Food Program. People come and say it's an NGO. United Nations is not an NGO. That is a bit frustrating when you talk to United Nations people. It's not an NGO. It's an intergovernmental organization. Your country is probably a member state of the United Nations, and these are agencies or secretariat that has been made by your countries. Yeah. So these are not NGOs. They're actually government organizations, but just intergovernmental organizations. Errors on your job applications materials, like I've said, this thing that people have got a template, cover letter, template CV that they keep on sending to everyone. Guess what? We actually see these things, yeah? Very frustrating. You could actually have a good CV, but if you're not careful, then we also, I mean, if you don't take your time, we also don't take our time, yeah? We just throw away your application. Ineffective networking, this I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. I've seen people some people don't understand how to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional tool that you need to use professionally. There is no need for small talk unless if you know me, you cannot write to me small talk in my LinkedIn. Yeah, this is a straight no. You cannot do that. Then there's also the mistake of people mailing unsolicited resumes. So organizations like the United Nations, you don't just send emails, yeah, to people. It doesn't work that way. Unless if you know the person and they're trying to headhunt you, then they can ask you to send an email. But what you don't do is just to send, I've got a good CV, I can say to people, say, hey, try to find a job for me. It doesn't work that way. Yeah? You get ignored, obviously. Then there's also people who come to my LinkedIn, they say, oh, I'm looking for a job. What kind of job are you looking for? They don't know, yeah? You are just open. I'm open to anything which is available. There's no manager who is even if I'm to headhunt, I don't want someone who says I'm open to anything which is. You yourself need to know who you are. If you say you did economics, or if you say you did what do you call it? If you did accounts, but then what are you? What are you? What specialty are you? Myself, I'm a nutritionist, but never worked as a nutritionist. I don't consider myself to be a nutritionist, so I'll never write to anyone saying that I'm a nutritionist. I've been a humanitarian specialist for so many years at managerial level mostly. So I know exactly what I'm looking for when I'm contacting people on LinkedIn or applying for jobs. So I'm not open to everything, and I also know my value. So the next one is not knowing your market value. That's the thing that I wanted to mention. Most people write to us, they don't even know their market value. Because if you don't value yourself, then who do you expect to evaluate you? Yeah? or to value for that matter. So these are things that you need to be very, let's say for organization that uses grades, let's say the United Nations uses, I'm going to mention also in my next slides, P1, P2, P3, P3, P4, P5. Please do research about these things. You cannot apply for a P1 and you apply for a P2, you apply for a P3, you apply for a P4, you apply for a P5. Do research and try to understand where is it that you probably can fit in. So if it is a P1, P2, probably it's a 2 years experience, postgraduate experience at international level. Try to understand, do you have that? If you don't have that, then don't apply for a P5. Try to apply for lower positions. Yeah. Again, jumping at anything. This is something that I wanted to mention, which hopefully you guys can try to relate to what I'm saying. Then, so the next one, the other very big mistake that I've seen with many people, many people, is on CV. Guys, you as a person, you are a brand. Always, please try to understand. This is why I've highlighted. You are a brand. Yeah, a brand. Let's say iPhone is a brand. Nokia is a brand. Android is a brand. Right? Huawei is a brand. What do brands do? How is it other brands sell and the other ones don't sell that much? If you ask yourself that, why is it Nokia failed? Why was the other brands failed to thrive? Why was other brands have kind of exponential increase like Samsung, like Huawei and all this? A brand, as a brand, you need to create a compelling image about yourself from your CV, your social media activities. You need to create an image, including on LinkedIn, yeah? And brands only win when they stand out. It's the same. Your CV is your marketing tool, your LinkedIn is your marketing tool. So those are your two professional marketing tools about your profession for the brand, and the brand is you. And with your CV and your LinkedIn, you are trying to sell yourself. And when you are selling yourself, how do you want to package yourself? If you go on the market and you find mangoes packaged nicely, look to have been cleaned with a let's say with clean water, maybe with chlorine and whatever, and they really look nice. They really look yellow, and they are really packaged in a nice package. So I mean, sanitized, hygienically, all these things, yeah. And then you go outside, you find mangoes where water, I mean, sewage water is flowing. Guys, which mangoes are you going to buy? So you need to create, it's a brand. You are the brand. You need to understand that when you talk about looking for jobs, you're the brand that you're trying to sell to people. Yeah. So when you sell a brand to people, even if you put a billboard, so CV considered as a billboard. Let's say you are you are a man or a woman, yeah, and you're going to be on that billboard. How do you want people to see you? If you're a woman, do you want people to see you with your makeup nicely done, professionally done, and then nicely dressed in a suit or whatever? Yeah, men the same. Do you want people to see you nicely dressed in a suit with your shoes polished and everything? Yeah, is that what you want to see? With your tattoos closed, or if you don't have tattoos, yeah, you are creating the brand. That's exactly what your CV is. So this is one thing that I've seen people don't understand, that your CV is a brand. People don't take time building their CV, looking at their CV, using professionals. So for me, I actually think if you think that you cannot write your own CV professionally, get professionals to write it, pay for it. It's worth it. Get branding experts to build your LinkedIn profile. It's worth it, trust me. Yeah? It actually can get people to look at more, because even the photo that you put on your LinkedIn, the way it looks, it can actually be a tenor for recruiters. It would also be something that can attract people to say, oh, I really want to look at this person, yeah? You know, so try to look at all these things. So the thing is, if you yourself don't feel that you have put all effort in your CV and you're extremely proud of what you have created, then no one else will. No one else. Don't expect me to be proud of your CV if you yourself, that I've worked with you doesn't matter. Yeah, a CV is an investment. Take it seriously. It's an investment. It's a seed that you are putting into your career. So it's garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage, you get garbage out. If you put gold, you get gold out. So try to invest in your CV. So then the question goes: how do you approach CV writing. Yeah, let's say you don't want to pay a CV. I've called this entrepreneurship approach to CV writing. Yeah, you should approach career strategy the same way an entrepreneur approaches starting a business. Remember, you need to sell a brand, and the brand is you. Please take your time, sell the brand, look at your competition, how well are they doing, yeah? Look at your market, how is the market receiving these brands of yours, yeah? So this is something that you need to be very serious about when it comes to your CV. We can actually see that we get for one position these days with the competition in the United Nations, one position we can get 1,000 CVs. I do not have time to look at 1,000 CVs. I'm going to browse through, boom, boom. These days they are also, we also use artificial intelligence models or modules that can actually scan through your CVs to just look at the critical ways that we want to shortlist you. But also, even without that, looking at 1,000 CVs, I need probably to have 18 seconds of looking at your CV and putting it aside and say, I want to look more about it. Yeah. So if you don't highlight some of the critical things on your CV, then you are not bound to be selected. Yeah. And you cannot blame the people that, oh, I'm good, but they didn't shortlist me. It's because your CV is not selling you. You didn't create a brand. You are not seeing yourself as a brand. Yeah. So here are the common mistakes that are made on the CV. Spelling and grammar errors. Guys, this is very important. I hate it when people make spelling errors and grammar errors on your CV. Try to use some of these free apps like Grammarly, yeah, to ensure that you also go through your CV and correct the grammatical errors, missing words, writing about previous jobs in present tense. Yeah, so people have a tendency of just copying the job vacancy on their previous job, yeah, or the terms of reference of their job, and then they're just plugging them into their CV. No, you are supposed, when it's past tense, you are supposed to write in past tense. It's supposed to be past tense. This is what I did. I did that. Achieved what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. That's what you're supposed to do. Not to say I'm covering. You are no longer there. How are you covering? You're not doing that. So make sure that you really take care on some of these things. Give others to also look at your CV so that they can edit for you and help you to. It's a painful job, but it's necessary. CV is not supposed to take you 1 hour to do your CV. It's supposed to take you days and days to do your CV. Yeah? Then there's also the issue of passive language instead of active. So passive language is basically putting something in a passive way, yeah, where you end up with very long sentences instead of you just putting it as an active. I want to give you an example. 35% revenue growth was realized in our team over 3 years. With the action words, you're supposed to say team achieved a 20% revenue growth over 3 years. Achieved quickly. Look at the difference between these two sentences. Yeah? Promotion to senior manager was given to me after only 6 months of working at the company. Promoted to senior manager after only 6 months. That's all I want to know. Stop writing stories. Stop being passive. Just put active. This is why CVs become long. When you're active, your CV becomes very short. Yeah? Missing or unnecessary contact information is one other big mistake that people make. At the very top of your CV, your name is supposed to be big and bold. If you're a female boss, let me tell you, these days there's a bias of hiring female candidates in the United Nations, for example, just to ensure that we meet our gender parities. So ensure that also your CV is showing that you're a female. Don't make people guess that you're a female. Yeah. If you don't put your photo, some people put photos, some don't put photos. Yeah. It depends with the country. Some people actually prefer photos, some don't. But make sure that you're also indicating that you're Miss or you're Miss. Or you're a mister, you're a doctor or whatever. Make sure that these things are very clear. Your contact details, your personal email, everything. Make sure that it's clearly stated there. I also always tell people to also bold your schools. If you have gone to Harvard, if you have gone to Makerere, University of Zimbabwe, try to bold some of these things. Because there's things that someone, maybe the recruiter is someone who also went to the University of Zimbabwe, and they're like, okay, this person, we went to the same university. Try to bold some of these things. Very, very critical. If you work for big companies, Ernst & Young, all these companies, also try to make sure that this isn't bold on your CV. Yeah. Do not include references, referees. Do not include. They are not necessary. It's always a must that any recruiter eventually they have to ask for reference. It's not necessary to put in your CV as much as not necessary to put your A-level, O-level results. I see it in Zimbabwe a lot with especially young people who are looking for jobs. It's not necessary. We don't want to know your A-level or your O-level results. Yeah. Or even your what do you call it, your first year, second year results. You know, just put what do you have, which university did you go, which degree did you get. That's all that we need to know. Then not well organized, concise, or easy to skim. Sentences are cut off, sections are cut off, confusing order of headings, information. So sometimes when people convert their CV from Word to PDF, there's a tendency that sometimes some of these margins are kind of cut off. Please make sure that you look at these things, yeah. But also make sure that your CV is really in a chronological order, showing, like, let's say for work experience, you're starting with the current one, going downwards, yeah. And ensure you don't make it too long, yeah. Unless you're applying for an executive position, your resume shouldn't be longer than a page. At most 2 pages, yeah. Again, the narrative style, the use of pronoun is something, these are things that make your CV too long. So try to be very careful. So this is why I was saying, try to get professionals to do your CVs. I mean, I've had my CV done by a professional company in London. I can't remember the name, London CV or something like that. They are really good, these guys. They're professionals who are actually trained to do these things. I think in many countries, you also could get some of these professional recruitment companies that can help you to polish up your CV. Again, remember, you are the brand. We want to sell you, yeah? So how do you write a good resume? I've put this link, guys, this link, try to open it. It has a lot of more information. And then I've put some tips here. Resume language should be specific rather than general, active rather than passive, written to express, not to impress. So very, very clear. Write to express, not to impress. So this use of big words, very unnecessary. Yeah? Express, not impress. Articulate rather than flower. So don't try to be flower, and also be realistic. Don't write things that you did not achieve. Yeah, fact-based, quantity and qualify. You are not supposed to just write things that cannot be proven. Yeah, make sure that you write. And also, like I said, write for people who can scan quickly. That's why I'm saying it's supposed to be 2 pages at the max. 2 pages at the max. Try to make it into 2 pages. Barack Obama can do that. If Barack Obama can do that and you cannot do it, then there's a problem with you, my dear. Yeah. So try to ensure that it's written for people who want to scan quickly. If I scan your CV, what am I going to get quickly that can make me say, let me put this aside. I'm going to look at it again. Yeah. Don't use personal pronouns such as I. Abbreviate. Use a narrative. Don't use abbreviations. Don't use a narrative style. Don't use a number of letter categories. Don't use slang or colloquialism. Don't include a picture. In some countries they actually include a picture, like in Europe. Then it says don't include age or sex. No, you actually, for me, I actually think you're supposed to include your gender, because sometimes these days there's actually the need to get more females in interviews. So it could be to your advantage. Yeah, in other circumstances, it could actually be to your disadvantage. Yeah, but these days, like in the United Nations, we are running like deliberate cases of trying to bring in more females. Yeah, so that's why you need to ensure that your gender is there. Yeah. Then spelling and grammar errors. Again, I shall mention, guys, you can use Grammarly. It's an app which is available as a plugin to your Word or to your email. You can get it online, plug it into your Chrome and also to your email and to your Word. Yeah. Make sure that it's not too long, it's well organized. Be consistent in format and content. Make it easy to read and follow. Balancing white spaces. Use the consistent spacing, underlining, italics, bold, and capitalizing for emphasis. Yeah, like I said. So when sometimes you have to emphasize on the school that you went to or on the company that you can bold or you can italicize. Yeah, these are things that you need to do so that I can see some of these things pretty quickly. Within headings, for information in reverse chronological order for most recent first, avoid information gaps such as missing summer. Be sure you format and translate it properly if converted to a PDF. Yeah. So also, like I was saying, if you plan to work internationally, try to look at some of these countries. They have needs, like in Europe, they actually need you to put effort. So make sure you do that. Then cover letter, guys. Cover letter has become one of the most important things. Actually, me, I look more at your cover letter than your CV, because cover letter is supposed to be a summary of things why you think you are the best for that position. Yeah. So a cover letter is a writing sample and part of the screening process. Because I also use that. So try not to use a cover letter template that you've created for other jobs, and be very specific. Cover letter is where I also try to judge your writing skills, and also to see if you are serious about the job. Yeah. Putting your best foot forward, you can increase your chances of being interviewed. A good way to create a response-producing cover letter is to highlight your skills or experience that are more applicable to the job or industry, to tailor the letter to the specific organization you are applying to. Yeah. So if you're applying to the World Food Program, make sure that you are writing things that are supposed to entice us in the World Food Program or in the United Nations. Yeah. In your cover letter. So don't just, guys, I really want to ask you to be very, very serious about some of these things. Cover letter, very, very important. Yeah. So here are some of the general rules. This is from Harvard, by the way. I've put the link where you can actually follow up on some of this on the Harvard website. Address your letters to a specific person if you can. So if it's a human resources, you can say just to human resources. Yeah. Tailor specific letters to specific situations or organizations by doing research before writing your letters. Very, very important. Again, guys, I get people contacting me. They have no clue what WFP does, or they have no clue where I'm even working in. Yeah. So people ask me, they are looking for jobs. I'm not in Zimbabwe. They're looking for jobs in Zimbabwe. I'm not in Zimbabwe. How am I supposed to help you recruit in Zimbabwe when I don't work there? Keep letters concise and factual, no more than a single page. Avoid flowery language. Guys, we know you are good at writing these big words, not necessary. Give examples that support your skills and qualifications. Put yourself in the reader's shoes. What can you write that will convince the reader and you are ready and able to do the job? Don't overuse I, because we also expect you to be a team player in the organization. Yeah. So if you put I, then it becomes a problem. Remember, this is a marketing tool. Use lots of action words. Avoid passive words, like I said in the previous slides. If converted to a PDF, check that your formatting translated correctly. Reference skills or experience from both description, draw connections to your credentials. Make sure your resume and cover letter are prepared with the same font and type size. It's always about the formatting. So I've shared here an example of a resume. Yeah. So you're supposed to have an opening paragraph, clearly state why you're writing, name and position of type of work you're exploring, and where applicable. Don't forget to put your address on top. Yeah. There's supposed to be your address on top as well, and the date. You all did writing professional letters in probably grade 3, grade 4. So you're supposed to know that you're supposed to put the reference and also the address. Then the middle paragraph, this way you now explain more in detail, yeah? But make sure it's brief again, because we want you to write this in one page. Explain why you're interested in this employer and your reasons for desiring this type of work. If you had relevant work experience, school and work, you are not supposed to repeat what you've written in your resume. Yeah? Try to emphasize on some of the things that can make you outstanding. Remember, it's a brand. You are selling your brand. Ensure that you are writing now that this is what I have in my brand. These are the nutrients. This is what I promise that you get from these nutrients. Yeah. Then you put a closing paragraph. Reiterate again your interest in the position and enthusiasm for using your skills to contribute to the work. Tell them what you are going to bring. Tell them what you are going to bring. It's quite important that they know what you're going to bring to the organization. So being specific now, guys, I'm sorry, I'm trying to really cover a lot of things in a short time, because I think my Zoom will probably zoom out in 40 minutes. Because I'm on the basic package. So I know most people have been asking, how do you work for United Nations? Yeah, I started work. I'll share with you my experience. I started with the government of Zimbabwe back in 2001. Worked with the government of Zimbabwe for a few months. But anyway, during that time that I was working with the United Nations, one of my roles was also to deal with NGOs. This is the good thing about the government. You actually are one of the supervisors for the NGOs as a government staff. So I used to work with the NGOs and I used to network with these NGOs. Yeah, so I worked for a few months, and then immediately these guys, because I was working quite well with them, I got a job with Oxfam GP, an NGO, international NGO. So that's another route that I'm going to share with you on how you can end up working for the United Nations. So I worked with Oxfam. Oxfam also now works with the United Nations agencies. It's an implementing partner for United Nations agencies. Yeah. So now when I'm working with Oxfam also, try to be humble, guys. It's always about humble. It's always about being flexible and wanting to know, to network, to know people. So when I was working with Oxfam, I worked with Oxfam for 3-4 months. Then also used to link up with WFP, with United Nations agencies in a lot of meetings, and with the way that they would see that I was also participating in meetings, I was being active, I was being enthusiastic. I started building my networks. Yeah? So after a few months, I actually got interviews with the United Nations, and that's the time that I joined the UN. So I've been with the UN for almost 20 years now. Since I joined them, I started as a national staff. I'm also going to share with you what I mean by national staff. Then I expanded my education in Cape Town, first in Cape Town, masters, and then another masters in the UK, in improving my own knowledge. Yeah, because now you're trying to become a specialist in something. So this is how I ended up joining the United Nations. So I'm going to share with you how you can. So first thing first, where do you get jobs for United Nations? I've seen people coming to me on LinkedIn. No, don't come to my LinkedIn and asking for jobs. I don't have jobs for United Nations, guys. That's not how United Nations recruit. Recruitments for United Nations, you find them through their websites. There is a website called reliefweb.int, international.int. Yeah? Please make sure that this website is on your bookmarks. Always open it every day. If you're looking for jobs in NGOs and United Nations, they post jobs every day, thousands of jobs they post. And you don't need to get tired. You need to keep on applying. As long as you follow what I was saying, if you have a good resume, if you have a good application letter, then you are bound to hit an interview at one point. Yeah? Make sure that you are building the brand you. So careers.un.org, this is another for the secretariat. So this is where normally the OCHA, United Nations, Organization for Humanitarian Affairs, Coordination for Humanitarian Affairs, you normally find their jobs there. The peacekeeping, like DPKO, you also Department of Peacekeeping, you also find their jobs here. The United Nations, as in the Secretariat, you find their jobs here on careers.un.org. Yeah? UNEP, I think United Nations Environment Program, you also find their jobs here. So there are a couple of UNs that you find their adverts on this one, on the careers.un.org. But one of the downsides of this career portal is they tend to take a long time to do recruitments. Yeah, it really takes a long time. But try to look for their rosters. They do post rosters there. It's good to apply for these rosters from this portal. Then for UNICEF, which is an agency, they have their own UNICEF careers that I've shared the link here. Then for World Food Program, WFP.org careers, I've shared the link there. Apply through, the only application is through this website. There is no other application. You don't send emails to anyone, yeah? It's through their applications, and the applications can look so intimidating. They can look so long and boring, yeah. But that's also one thing of testing. We're actually trying to test you how resilient you are, how patient you are when you do these things, yeah. So take your time. Then there's also UNJobs.org. They share a lot of UN organizations, UN jobs. Then also through your local newspapers, like in Zimbabwe, in the Sunday Mail, in the Thursday Mail, in the Thursday Herald, they normally share UN jobs now and then when they are available. But even if they are on the local news, but they're always on this website. So put these websites on your bookmarks, yeah, so that you can always open them and check around. And don't be impatient when you're applying, because the application process is quite long. But that's how it is. If you want it, it depends on how much you want it. We also want to see how much you want it. That's why we're challenging you to that. Yeah. So then I also wanted to clarify, because there's one one mistake that I've seen, people apply for everything. They don't even check what it means. Yeah. So there are different types of positions in the United Nations. There are what are called national positions for citizens only. So if it's a national position, it's only, let's say you are in Uganda or in Zimbabwe, they are only for Zimbabweans, they're only for Ugandans. If you are a foreigner, you cannot apply for this position. So take care when you're applying, check these things before you apply. Yeah. If it says G1 to G7, G1 fixed term, G2 fixed term, G3 fixed term, these are general service contracts for locals only. These are kind of more fixed term appointments, but they are for locals only. They are not for everyone. You cannot apply this if you are, let's say, South African, you apply a job which is in Zimbabwe. You are automatically disqualified by the system. Yeah. So on this G1, G1 up to 7, G1 to G2, they are mostly drivers and messengers. These are the lowest positions on this what do you call it, on this grading system. Then G3 to G4, mostly diploma level to first degree, about 1 to 4 years local experience. So you've worked, the experience you've worked for the government, you've worked for NGOs, or you've worked for other UN agencies. Yeah, that is G3 to G4. G5 to G7, probably with the competition these days, you actually probably need to have a master's and some postgraduate experience. Yeah. Previously, it didn't used to be like this, but now because of the competitions, mostly people with masters are also applying for these positions. Then there are also temporary contracts called SSA1, SSA2. These are also for locals, and SC1 to SC8 service contracts. These are temporary positions for local citizens. These positions, although you are working for the United Nations, you are not considered as a United Nations staff. You are considered as a what do you call it, as a service provider to the United Nations. Although you get everything that everyone gets, mostly the money and whatever, but there are some benefits that you are not covered in. You are not covered by these type of contracts. Yeah, but they are still a good way to enter into the United Nations, because eventually you can also apply now with more experience. You can apply for some of these G1 to G7 positions. Then there are professional positions, local professional positions, where you find they are called NOA up to NOE, or NO1. I've seen NO1, NO2 these days, but it's the same. So these are called national officer positions, grade A up to grade E. So just to break them again, NOA to NOB is postgrad experience with 5 years plus experience, local experience. NOC to NOE, postgrad expert. This is specialist level, many years of experience. You really have to be. So when you're applying, please try to make sure that you are checking these things. Yeah, don't just, if you are a student who has just come from school, you cannot apply for a national officer position. You cannot probably apply for a G5 to G7 position. Yeah. So instead of you getting disappointed why you are not getting, it's also because when we see you applying for everything, that's where we think that you are that person who is just applying for anything. Yeah. Try to take time to understand some of these things. Then now there's also what we call international expatriate positions. These are for non-citizens. So when you see this position, even if it says in Zimbabwe, and you're from Zimbabwe, you cannot apply for this position. You'll be automatically disqualified, because these are for international expatriates only. Yeah? Doesn't mean that you're not good, but it means that this position is made only for internationals, for expatriates only. Yeah? You might have all the experience that is needed there, but look at the grades. When it says P1 to P5, P is the most important thing there. P1 to P5. These are fixed term positions. Do not apply for these in your country. Apply for these when they are not in your country. Yeah? And the recruitment process normally takes very long, because these are kind of the international civil service positions that need to be, done in a very rigorous way. Yeah. So P1, P2, these are junior entry level. Master's degree, 2 to 5 years international experience, maybe more if you've got national level experience. Yeah. If you've not left your country. Then P3 to P5, more than 5 to 15 years of international experience or international exposure. That's what you need. Then there are also D1 to D2. These are director level positions, unless you're actually at a director level, very, very senior, so many years of experience. These are diplomats, very senior diplomats. Do not apply for these if you are not at that level. Yeah? Then there are also temporary contracts called consultants. You find them written CST level 1, level 2, or CST junior. These are also international positions. You also have national consultants, but this one I'm talking about is international consultants. So international consultants, they are also leveled junior. This is mostly at level P1 to P2. So these ones, they can be recruited very quickly. Yeah? The process of recruitment is not very rigorous. It's probably based on others, on the networking. If they know you in the network and they know that you're quite experienced, maybe you've worked with the United Nations, then they can recruit you very quickly. Yeah? So let's say, you know, like I work for United Nations World Food Program. We're an emergency organization. We need to respond within 72 hours. You need to hire people internationally within a very short period of time. This is where people with this type of contracts normally come in. Yeah? They can be deployed very quickly without going through any bureaucracies because they're consultancies. Yeah. So junior level is P1 to P2. Again, compare P1 to P2, the what I've shared there. Then CST level 2 is equivalent to P3, P4. Then CST level 3 is considered to P5, D1 to D2. Yeah. Again, look at the entry levels and also the number of experiences needed. Then there are other positions, obviously. Internships, I also get people contacting me about internships. Again, they're applied through the websites. You don't just apply, you don't just take your letter for internship or letter for attachment to a UN organization. It doesn't work that way. You have to check their websites. That's where you find the internships. Then the other way for professionals is also you can go through the United Nations volunteer, unv.org. Go through their website. You can register as a UNV. Then when their positions, when they've registered you, they've accepted you, then when their positions come, they will contact you to say, are you interested? We want to share your CV with, let's say, an organization in another country that wants that want people with your profile. So the one thing about the UNV is this staff, although they are volunteers, they are actually paid a stipend to live on. Which is actually good money. It's not bad money. Trust me, it's actually good money which you can actually live with your family. Yeah? Then experience, like I said, I started with the government. I started with the international NGO. So don't think it's easy just to get from school to United Nations. You really have to start. You really have to be very strategic and long term about it. Yeah. Start low, go into government. Although the salaries are low, it's actually a good way of you being able to network with some of these NGOs and United Nations agencies. Yeah. So try to do that. Internships, like I've said again, don't expect internships to go unsolicited. You have to apply through their website. They have to advertise, and then you have to apply. They've got a lot of adverts, even on the World Program website right now. Internships, you're supposed to be in school or just finish school, your master's mostly, and then you can apply for internships. Yes, guys. So that's more on the CV part of things. On the brand, we're still making your brand. So now, coming to the issue of LinkedIn. This is again, like I said, LinkedIn is another marketing tool for your professional life or for your career. Yeah. I wanted to share some of the mistakes that people make on LinkedIn, which can really put people off or which can make you fail from getting that dream job of yours. First of all, avoid contacting people on LinkedIn for small talk. Be straight to the point, especially if you don't know someone. Don't go for small talk. Be straight to the point and expect response or no response. Yeah, but always be strategic. Know what you want to write. Make it short, sweet. Short and sweet. Don't ask for phone numbers. Don't ask for people's phone numbers. Yeah, unless if you know them professionally, do ask for phone numbers. But try not to ask for phone numbers on LinkedIn. That's a little bit unprofessional, honestly. Yeah? And also, please try to do a research on the person that you are connecting before you contact them. Because, like I said, I've had people writing to me saying, "Oh, I'm looking for a job in Zimbabwe." I'm not in Zimbabwe. If you even check my LinkedIn, where am I? So if you are looking for jobs, maybe you're looking for international jobs. Yes, fine, I can understand. But if you're looking for jobs in Zimbabwe, I'm not in Zimbabwe. It means that you've not even researched me. You just wrote to me because maybe you saw something that I've posted and you're looking for a job with me. That does put off a little bit, yeah, because it shows that I get thousands, guys, of DMs. Some of them I don't even I can't. It's not that I don't want to, but I can't. It's just too much, yeah. So try to understand that. Avoid asking for jobs again in the DM. It doesn't, unless if my profile says I'm a recruiter, I don't recruit people, guys. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I recruit people based on the recruitment process of the United Nations. So unless the profile says a recruiter, don't DM people looking for jobs. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. Try instead. What I would propose is try to make your LinkedIn more attractive, more engaging. Say by sharing your professional stories and videos and photos. That way, the feed can help you get attention. So it's the same with the same way Facebook works. When the more you post, the more people get feed on your. Get your feed on their own feeds. Yeah. So try to do that. Try to share a lot of professional stories about your own, let's say your own work. Try to share that, and then people will say, this person probably is someone that I need to look at. Yeah. Again, like I said, don't ask for numbers. You could actually go to Facebook and try to connect these people, on Twitter, try to connect them privately and then ask them for their phone number. But on LinkedIn, honestly, it's a bit unprofessional to ask for people's phone numbers. And then avoid posting non-professional stuff on LinkedIn. Very, very wrong. Yeah. Okay. So out with the mistakes. How then can you make LinkedIn work for you? Guys, LinkedIn is a very powerful tool. The way you are so active on Facebook is the way that you are supposed to be so active on LinkedIn. Yeah. The only difference is that you have to share professional stuff. You have to share professional things. You have to make LinkedIn work for you. Yeah. You need to tell your story through LinkedIn. Yeah. So on Facebook, you can write a line donuts. Watch me eat a donut. Here's a cool photo of me eating a donut. Here's a donut recipe. I'm listening to donuts. Anyone want a donut? This is Facebook, yeah? There's nothing professional about this. But now on LinkedIn, this is now professional. I hope to operate a donut franchise one day. I'm looking for a job at a donut company. I have 3 years of experience making donuts. My top skills are donut production and sales. Here, 3 recommendations from former donut colleagues. Yeah? So you see how different it is. Now you are focused. You are more focused when it comes to LinkedIn. That's what people want to see from you, not to be sharing things that are not professional. So listen. For example, if you have something bad which happened to you, but which is not really professional, don't share it on LinkedIn. Yeah. Yes, people might feel sorry for you, you might get nice comments, but maybe recruiters out there might think that they might actually see you as a weak person. Yeah, that probably is not suitable to work in certain environments because you're so emotional and all that. So share that on Facebook. Don't share that on LinkedIn. Yeah, the bad things, the whatever. Try not to try to avoid to do that. Well, that could be a weakness that some recruiters might look at and say, this person is a bit weak. So build a profile. Again, like I said, if you can't do it, get professionals who can do it. Pay for it. Pay them to do it for you. Let them do their brand managers. I know brand managers, a lot of brand managers. I'm connected to a lot of brand managers on LinkedIn. They are very much willing to come and do that for you. Build a LinkedIn profile that attracts employers. So your profile versus your resume. Take a great photo. Edit your profile, private setting. Post things, guys. Post things, yeah, which are professional. Stories that are professional about you or about your work, so that people can get excited about you. Build thought leadership. I think some of you have seen I've been posting quite a lot of things that I'm doing in terms of the rural development. These are kind of my interests, my passions, and also even now the career building that I'm doing. Yeah, because I believe in leadership. I believe in building leaders. I believe in also the thought leadership, the thought leadership process itself. Yeah, in advising leaders and all that. It's something that I believe in. So these are the things that you need to share when it comes to LinkedIn. Don't just take things from others and share. Yeah? That's not what when I say sharing. When I say sharing, it's about you. Share things that you probably are writing your own stories, your own blogs, your own things that you want people to see more about you, to understand more about you. So when more of these feeds come to our feeds, then we can also see more about you rather than you actually coming to DM and asking for a phone number. You understand, yeah? So unless if you are offering someone something, try not to have to ask for phone numbers from people. Because you are the one who wants something, it's not them. When they want something, let's say when they want something from you, and they want to give you something, probably the ones that are supposed then to come with the phone number. So for me, my take will be try to make your profile more active, try to make it very professional, your profile, and then that way it can help you to get a dream jobs or to get the right networks, because it's about getting the right networks. So this is one thing about working for United Nations, by the way. There's what is called the UN culture. The UN culture is about networking, it's about respect, it's about diversity, it's about resilience, it's about being flexible. So all these things are things that you need to have in life. Like I've worked in so many countries where I spend long days, long months away from my family. These are things that you also need to prepare for. Yeah, so guys, this is what I thought I wanted to share with you, the frequently asked questions. But then if any of you have got more questions that you want me to address, then I would see if it is necessary to do actually a live call question and answer session where I can answer some of your questions. Yeah. Because like I said, again, I found it a little bit impractical, because I really never thought there's going to be such demand of people who wanted me to share this experience. Yeah? But I'm quite overwhelmed. The response is massive. I would love to do these videos. Maybe I can do more of these videos. But if you have questions, maybe I can write them out. I can do another video that I can share with you. Then if there is need, maybe slowly I can have fewer and fewer people that can actually fit into one Zoom call. Then I can do a Zoom call where you can have questions and answers. But hopefully, I hope I've managed to answer some of your questions. But please do feel free to put some questions here on my comment box, yeah, so that if there is any question that I need to answer, then I'll be able to answer. Thanks very much, guys. I hope you have a good Sunday and a good week coming in. Thanks.